Hi, I'm Keegan, and this is A Bunch of Gamers. This is our 99th episode of Werewolf the Apocalypse 20th Anniversary Edition. The Wyrm that Rends. I'm going to go around and have my players introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Sam. I play Cora. She's an Aruna in the Get of Fenris.
I'm Tyler, and I play Kyle, also known as Guards the Low. He's a Philodox of the Children of Gaia.
Hi, I'm Adam. I play Mark Guides the Fallen, and he's a Thurge of the Children of Gaia.
Hi, I'm Sean. I play Zeb Speaks-in-Sweet-Whispers. He is a Theurge of the Silent Striders.
Hello, my name's Thomas. I play Dimitri Howls-In-Memory, Lupus Galliard of the Bone Gnawers.
Hi, my name is George. I am playing William Grows-Matrices. He is a Fostern Arun of the Glasswalkers.
Last time, the Pax went to the Sept of the Desert Snow to investigate a strange Bane spirit that was wandering closer and closer to the Sept. Every time it was destroyed, it would come back several days later. Speaking to several of the members of Older Brother that called the Sept home, as well as several Raven spirits, and investigating part of the cave network, the Pax returned ready to relay at least some of their information before each of them had a dream with a poem. It seems to be that there was only one of two poems that each heard, and the poems and the visions were shared by all around the Sept. An emergency moot has been called, and the Pax wait patiently now as they stand there, exhausted and ready to report. As the group of older brothers start to move around, some of them prepping for the moot, you feel the sleepiness in your eyes. You've got maybe 4-ish hours of sleep as the adrenaline starts to kind of calm down and the full weight of your exhaustion begins to rest upon your shoulders.
I think Cora's just gonna go back to sleep for a little while, like 4 or 5 hours probably, and then see if she can help set up any more for the moot if it's not already done.
I'm gonna do the same thing. We carried these guys out last time, so might as well get to sleep now.
I think it'd be prudent if everybody rested, definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
Granted, everybody in the Sept and Cairn had a rude awakening. We had a very busy night.
The only thing I can think of is reaching out to the Elder and showing the pictures of what we have, and then go to sleep.
It's a damn good point.
I mean, he could possibly just do that solo.
You'll have to seek Howls on Mountains.
Okay.
As you
Actually, I won't leave you hanging, George. I'll go with you.
I'll come along too.
As you see the Lupus Garu and their Hispo maneuvering things around as wood is being stacked upon the mountain to start the fire. Many Garu rushing this way and that way as the old Garu looks at you.
Yes?
My packmate William Grows-Matrices, Elder, found something down in those caverns to the north of here. We'd like you to see it prior to the moot. If you wouldn't mind showing him, William.
I'll go ahead and pull out my phone and get to the picture, or pictures, and hand the phone over.
They're in Hispo.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm sorry.
Hold it in your mouth, yeah.
Yeah. I'll just go ahead and hold it up so that way they can see it.
They look over it as their eyes squint a little bit, as you see the eyes change slightly, going from the amber color of a wolf's eyes to a more brown and larger, smaller irises as the eyes become human, so they can see this full spectrum of color. The great Hispo nods and goes,
I see. I would ask that you bring this to Sing's old songs. They were preparing something as well. They seem to have thoughts on the vision. Perhaps this will help them formulate their thoughts for the coming moot.
We will do so, Elder.
As you move through and start asking around, you are pointed out to Sing's old songs as you see the massive Krynos carrying a log on its back from behind as it lifts overhead, and then you see the almost comically small head as they place it down, and you see them turn as they have a human face even in their Krynos form.
sings old songs. I'm Speaks-in-Sweet-Whispers. This is my packmate, Grows-Matrices and Howls-In-Memory. We have something we'd like you to see. The Elder sent us to you to speak about what we found in the caverns to the north of here. An old mural of some lost lore of your people, I believe. In addition to the hundreds of small poison banes that were down there, this painting.
And again, I'll put the phone.
As they reach over and they pick up the phone as it's minuscule within their giant Krynos fingers, looking it over.
This seems to confirm my suspicions. Thank you.
As they hand the phone back.
Would you care to share them? Our thought of a fellow theurge of ours was that something bound to an ancient item has perhaps found a way to break free, and thus poison the spirits around it.
They didn't guess, huh? The folly of youth. I will bring it at the moot so all can hear. I'm making sure to compose what I have.
Very well.
You guys return and kind of just pass out. You awaken at about 2:30 as the Sept is once again buzzing as you see several Garu coming and going, some getting mirrors set up near the cairn as well as they're talking about recalling some of the Cleoth from their homes. Phone calls are being made now to try and get them to leave, talking about what hours to get them here, how to get them out without their parents knowing. As phone calls go off left and right, Garu doing their best as some begin to summon spirits that are related to the cairn itself. There doesn't seem to be much to do, though there is some food out for you to regain your strength.
Sure, we'll have brunch.
From there, we can maybe plan our next steps. I think it might be wise for the Thurges to help out with the summoning of the spirits. Maybe we can learn some stuff there.
See if they are willing to have our help. Yeah, why not?
Kyle, what do you think?
You're the Thurge. Though if nothing comes up, Kyle will probably just meditate.
All right. Well, I'll have my fill. And then Zeb, if you'd like to join me.
Sounds good. Hey, William, I'm not trying to treat you like a human database or a guru database. If you can place some calls to some folks you know to find out more about the businesses that are operating around here and possibly damaging the earth, I'm more than willing to think to blame some of them for digging and doing things they shouldn't be doing. I have a feeling it could be related, could be wrong, but if you could find just some more about some of their activities, that'd be great.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. I don't know if they're the cause for it, though. They started drilling, remember, after the spirit or Bane was roaming here.
Fair enough. I'm happy to be wrong.
But I'll make some calls and see if I can do some digging on my own.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Well, you can start making some calls as you hear one of your kin on the other line. Hello.
Hello, this is William.
Hey, Will.
So I've got a favor to ask, if you can.
Sure. As you hear them typing away.
I need you to look into Zoltan oil. Specifically the drilling off of... I need you to do some digging into the exploratory drilling that Zoltan oil is doing on Fort Apache Reservation.
Fort Apache Reservation. Okay, yeah, looking now. Looks like there's been a couple protests in the area, but yeah, so guess there's a couple lawsuits right now. It sounds like they're using some old laws from 1825 to get around tribal laws and using federal systems to do some exploratory drilling, though, yep, their PR guys trying to spin it, talking about at least 80% hiring from local communities, injecting money back in, and a firm... Yeah, it looks like a firm... quite some distance from any sort of local communities when it comes to any sort of fracking operations that they plan on doing.
Okay.
I know that it looks like they got an exploratory team out that way right now.
Whereabouts are their location, do you know?
It looks like it doesn't say on the article. It just says that they are there. My bet is that they are not staying in the reservation proper, so I'm betting they're staying at either Pinetop Lakeside or Sholo, given that those are towns just a couple miles from the reservation.
Okay.
If they're on the north side, if they're on the west side, they might be trying to do some stuff through the city of Young or Copper Hill.
If I know anything about Arizona, it might be Sholo with how connected they are with the roads. We can start there.
That sounds right. That looks like that gets them close to the west side too. That's my best guess, though.
Okay, and one more question. Legally, they started a few months ago, but could you maybe find out when they might have started sooner, if they did?
I'll take a look. If that's anything that they have done, I bet it's not any public record. So that might take a few days, bud.
Any information's good information.
Sounds good. I'll get back to you then.
All right, thanks so much.
Meanwhile, you see several serpent spirits being summoned, as well as vultures and spirits of water. Some of the tree spirits are being awakened.
Greetings and Gaia's blessings.
You see one of the members of Older Brother turn around as they look you up and down. Yes?
I am Guides the Fallen, and this is my friend Speaks-in-Sweet-Whispers. We were wondering if we could help out with the summoning of the spirits here for the moot.
Do you know the spirits of this sept?
No, but perhaps maybe we can help with just providing the gnosis required.
Do you believe we do not have the gnosis to provide for our own spirits, Wormcomer?
Of course not. Just wondering if maybe you wanted an excess.
I think we'll be fine.
I apologize. I've clearly caused an offense.
Apology is accepted, but we will tend to our own ways. Thank you.
Of course. He'll turn to Zeb and just look completely embarrassed.
Let's go hang out with everybody else. Come on.
That's a good idea.
As you head back to the group, you see food being eaten by everyone involved, and it looks like the carcasses and the bones are being piled up so that they can be thrown into the fire. It seems likely that most of this moot will be the breaking of the bone, more so than anything else. Which means that you will be able to present your arguments and your finds. However, you will have to remember that it goes in the order of rank, and your one galliard is a Fostern, which means you may present information later, unless you wish for one of your Adrian to present earlier, but perhaps with less elegance.
Well, should we decide who's going to speak first and then decide on the information?
I'm thinking it might be best for us to let our galliard speak, not only because they'll talk better, but also because this isn't our sept, and we want to show respect. We don't want to go before the others that live here and that have a lot of stake in what's happening, and I guess might not have the opportunity to speak otherwise if we do go first.
I disagree. I think we need to have our information provided as soon as possible. We found that information. Why don't we get the honor of giving it out?
I would argue that I can present the information, since in the traditional order of speaking, if I presented, it would be newer information for everyone to remember.
Because you're the last one to speak. There's a very important point in laying this out, and I'm inclined to go with Howls-In-Memory to deliver this in lupus form, especially given the nature of the cairn here. I think we need to lay out the information that we have and divorce it from supposition. Otherwise, they're not going to listen to shit. It's going to be viewed as us making some kind of implication, and then we risk insulting them, because they don't need too many reasons to get pissed off at us, even if we're here to help. So what we know is a big cavern that we encountered had an old painting, which William has shared, that there is still a monster that's appearing, but in this cavern, here's the depiction, just the facts of the depiction in the mural, that we saw hundreds of small banes and corrupted poison spirits in this underground cavern in the Umbra that hasn't been touched in some time. And now very clearly we're all having visions. I'm interested to see what else we might want to add to that, because again, I can feel the tension in the very few interactions we've had this far, that anything that we add on to this is our thoughts on the matter versus the fact digs the hole deeper and doesn't help our cause.
We also run the risk, by presenting our information, that everyone is taken with it and colors their interpretations of their visions with it. Important information might be lost with the addition of our information.
Are you advocating then to deliver it as the agent would speak, or to wait then? So
wait.
Okay. I think if we were at home, as we call it, I'd be inclined for us to deliver it first and mightily. But in this instance, I think, especially to Howls-In-Memory's point of speaking last, lingers, we don't color anyone's perspective. Is there anything we'd want to add to these facts, aside from the ones we've laid out? Where we went, who we encountered the raven spirits, talked about the fellow canaries, the sickness, and even the disorientation for those spirits that were there to monitor it, that I think the folks in this cairn sent there or asked to do so. They might already have that information, but at least we know it as a fact. And then what we saw ourselves. Heck, we didn't even encounter the actual thing yet.
So, question, Keegan. Will everyone be sharing their vision individually, like in the cairn, regardless of new information presented?
I think many have been speaking back and forth about their visions. They all seem very personal. But if you were to add any information like your visions, you would be in Howls-In-Memory's slot, because you'll speak with him.
Okay, that makes sense.
Well, I am inclined to follow your lead, Rhea. So I will step down and speak with our Galliard.
I think the point to remember, William, is that we did stick our necks out to go out and get this information and bring it back. If that's somehow ignored, we have an entirely different problem. I don't think we're going to have a trouble getting them to acknowledge it, the facts that we've collected. At least I hope not. But that's something to be cautiously optimistic about, I think.
Yeah, I think one thing we should keep in mind is that we should state the facts of what we saw plainly and to the point.
Right up front, and then if there's anything about visions thereafter, then we can each one speak about that. But yes, we get the exact facts out there right up front, because that's everything after that's the horrors that await us. Everything after those facts that we talk about are the personal horror that we see coming for the end of the world, or whatever you saw. So yes, we get them out to the point. Are there any pure facts outside of the visions that we had individually in our dreams that we want to mention? Because we can probably even omit the parts of us talking to all the other people in the Sept. They're going to mention that part already. Purely what we went down into those caverns and saw when we crossed into the Umbra. Go ahead, William.
The only thing I can think of is bringing up Zoltan, but they're probably already aware of their involvement with the exploratory drilling.
If we have time during the cracking the bone otherwise to talk to some groups of folks, then I don't think there's any problem with sharing that information as something new to ask more questions. But as far as the delivery that Howls-In-Memory gives during the moot, I don't think we need to mention it. But I think if we get anything else, we'll definitely be sharing it going forward. Did you get anything right now that we didn't really know before?
The only new information is that the exploratory team is possibly operating out of Sholo. Possibly, and that's just based on the geographical location. There's a few other locations, such as Pinetop Lakeside, but we don't have a clear, 100% accurate location just yet.
I think if they decide that they want to strike anyone else, I think if this cairn decides they want to go out there and just start killing everything related to the worm, then we mention this information. Otherwise, until we get more, we don't mention it, at least during the part where Howls-In-Memory speaks.
Well, if
Anyone disagree? Cora?
Even if it does come to that, this is the Sept's problem. We are here to help with the Sept's problem, but a Sept's problem is a Sept's problem. And it will be their solution that we'll have to follow.
And I'm sure, like every other Sept, asking for help was probably a divided decision when it finally went out there to bring other outside Guru in. So that's a point. Their solution might be the one we enact.
Well, and approaching an Uktena Sept and getting 6 non-older brother helpers may not be what they expected.
Yeah, I imagine perhaps they were hoping that the bloodline would have called them more to come back. Yeah, maybe.
So stay in our lane hardcore and uphold the litany.
All right, Howls-In-Memory, what other information do you want help laying out to make sure we have exactly what we want to say or have you say?
As far as everything I can think of, I think we've already discussed everything pretty thoroughly. The location, what we found, maybe mention the raven and canary spirits, the paintings we found, the banes. Unless I'm forgetting something.
It sounds complete enough. Does anyone else think of anything I want to make sure that we mention?
So on thinking further into the caves, and this is just a theory, nothing concrete, but the symptoms of the Bane spirit is similar to that of natural gas exposure, like a gas leak. And what we experience in the caves could have been those Bane spirits from a well of natural gas.
Short-term memory loss? Sure.
Short-term memory loss, fatigue, headaches, nausea.
In the spirit of theory, my other consideration was, what does fracking look like in the Umbra? But again, this are our theories, so I think, yes, I think it's important. I think we want to bring up...
Well, it didn't look like all of the Banes were small, and there were corrupted spirits of death there as well.
I think it's a damn good point to mention also Howls-In-Memory.
I'll be sure to bring it up.
Are we confident in the message that we're going to have our friend here deliver?
I have every little bit of confidence in our lupus friend.
All right, Brother Jim, I guess we'll get ready.
And so the moot begins, as a prayer to the great rattlesnake begins, when you notice that one of the logs that no one is sitting on moves, and you see the towering serpent tower over 20 feet tall, horned eyes and flicking tongue, and great rattle starting to shake as you notice that it is circled nearly the entire group around the fire. The spirit gives acknowledgement as you see other spirits landing and watching. It is a call for the breaking of the bone, for it is this that is the most important. As you see the bones from the meals earlier placed into the fire, many bones, for there will be much talk today. The first to step forward is the Grand Elder of the Cairn, Howls on Mountains. The lupus shifts into their lupus form and gives out a howl about degradation, how the hearts of men continue to become blackened with the ever-present temptation of greed. For now, he fears that Zoltan has become but another worm corporation like Endron, that it is using its connections to the worm to drive profit and to degrade the earth for future profit, knowing of the spiritual degradation now. For what business does Zoltan have trying to come to Endron Fields? Gillian Windtamer speaks next as she talks of how this has something to do with the caves. The Talon must be free. The Talon is clearly specific. It is something that they must fear, and it charges something in the back of her mind, but she cannot remember what. Mage Killer says that they must invade the cave. They know that there are spirits there. They have seen the Banes, but many are small. And that this small sept, especially with their new warriors that have come from Sacred Stone, as he motions to Ill Omens and Fomori's Bane, they can clearly crush them, dive in via the Umbra, and find whatever lurks beneath. After that, they can find this exploratory team and do what they must to drive them out, for if it was them, knowing or not, they are guilty for crimes against the Garu, and Gaia and older brother will have their vengeance upon them. Things grow silent as Sing's old songs rises up. They take their Krynos form, and you see them concentrating as you see the muscles in their throat shift around as you hear almost half wolfish noises coming from their human mouths as they try and compensate for their lack of their wolf appendage, as they move their hands over their mouth to simulate a longer snout for the airwaves of their wolf vocal cords. They howl for silence before shifting their vocal cords back and speaking,
Embarrassment, all of you. To shame your history and shame how much you remember from the old tales is embarrassing. It is embarrassing to Great Uktena. It is embarrassing to the Great Rattlesnake. It is embarrassing to the winds, and it is embarrassing to your ancestors.
As several Garus shift into Krynos and start to growl, one of the younger Cleoth frenzies before two grab her and slam her to the ground.
The Talon must be free. Gaia has given us our answer, and still you wonder what is happening. Do we not remember in ancient times? Long ago, before the Pure Lands were even found, before the three brothers left our siblings in the east and the west, when the Wyrm's hand...
As they raise their hand and you see them use a gift as the shadow of the hand stretches out into a great claw hanging over everything, and the other shadows start to turn into the heads of the three great worm spirits, the Beast of War, the Eater of Souls, and the Defiler, as you see the thousands of little heads, presumably the Urge Worms, coming off of them.
The worm manifested its hand, and it reached down and it struck Gaia.
As you hear the wind itself scream.
But the Garu was strong. The Garu still had purpose. The Garu had not deluded themselves with warring against our kin, with culling humanity. And so they tore apart the hand, and the worm drew back the nubs. And of that day, 5 spirits were born. Some say 4, but I am not so hopeful, especially in the world I see today. 5 spirits were born, the talons of the worm. Some even manifest in our current history. You cannot tell me that your memories are so short. When Keswick, he who points, rose to prominence from his egg in Russia behind the Shadow Curtain, when it is said that the leech Baba Yaga was defeated by Garu hordes, and the Great Talon was finally destroyed in ancient magics, and the Garu of Russia were free to re-enter the world. Did we forget? Did we not hear the stories of when the Silver Fangs claimed that they fought Narlathus, Thumb of the Worm, who fled to the north, was bound to a black stone? That the stone has been stolen by the Worm's own tribe, the Black Spiral Dancers, and is now hidden? Though the only thing we are certain of is that the spirit is not free, for Gaia remains. The Talon will be free. All Talons were bound, whether into stones or swords. Spears, arrows, bows, or horns, who's to say? But they were bound, whether to location or item, hidden from the world. We are dealing with a talon of the Wyrm. And I have a feeling that my theory and my truth will be vindicated, for I have seen evidence, an image captured in a box that shows the very nature of what I speak. When older brother had close ties to our kin, and we asked them to hide the greatest horror that we have bound.
Mage Killer stands up. You presume much, Mule. I am skeptical that a Talon has been here this whole time and older brother never noticed. We all know that older brother... He cuts himself off and he looks at the two visiting packs before growing silent. How are we certain that these visions that we all had are from Gaia, and not some new false vision planted by the spirit as it continues to grow in power and in cunning? Did we forget? The Wyrm is bound in the Weaver's webs, and so it uses order and patterns to corrupt.
And you are right,
sings old songs.
but I doubt you remember the rest. The Wyrm does have long-lasting plans that stretch back millennia. It would not plan for something like this. The plans of the Wyrm are far more subtle and far more insidious, as you well know. The plans of the Wyrm is to teach humanity that cruelty is natural and compassion is somehow unnatural. That is the planning of the Wyrm. That is the foundation of why the world is the way it is. But I will be vindicated, and I will have my wisdom and I will have my honor in front of this entire Karen, Warder. Hopefully, you will come to understand rather than just chatter like an ape that you are.
The Warder grows hot but does not charge as you just hear the deep guttural growl. The lines begin to go down of the various guru, many talking about the headaches, things like that, many talking about how the creature seems to be changing as they go. A lot of things that you have all heard before from your interviews. Some talking about Zoltan using legal loopholes now to actually frack. That they've been able to do exploratory fracking, which is now threatening the community and likely awakening the spirit. That Zoltan is clearly the enemy here, and that they must be investigated and must be made to leave if there is any hope of stopping whatever this spirit is. It is through fracking and cracking its domain, some claiming that it is just a spirit of natural gas, simply an ancient bane tied to it. Others claiming that it is clearly something older, for the creature does not act like a gas all the time, as there is a back and forth, until Dimitri, you are allowed to step up, and the whole Sept goes silent, and you see all the members of Older Brother looking at you firmly and with judgment in their eyes.
Alright, Howls-In-Memory is going to step forward in his lupus form and basically present the information as the group had discussed before. He is going to say, my pack, the Ill Omens, and our friends of Fomori's Bane went into the caves to the north and to where this spirit came from. And we spoke with the Raven spirits, and they told us of canary spirits that had perished in the caves below. When we ventured into these caves, we saw cave paintings of a Garu in Krynos form handing out stones to humans. And deeper still, that is when we came upon the spirits. large and small.
You hear a heckle. You have seen a picture of this. Convenient. Proof! As you hear several other Garu. Proof!
My packmate Grows-Matrices has taken pictures of these paintings. He has them. And I'll give him a moment to, I guess, show the pictures to those that want to see them. And Howls-In-Memory will continue and say, and deeper in those tunnels still we came upon the Banes, many of them both large and small. Banes of poison and corrupted death banes. They outnumbered us and we were forced to flee. I would say they numbered in the hundreds, if not more, and we were forced to retreat.
So look over the picture. Phone getting handed around as there's growls. You see a big old smile on Sing's old songs. Their arms crossed. They look over their fellow Garu. Looks over at Mage Killer. They lock eyes as you see the slight animosity, though the animosity is smothered by the smugness of the Galliard. It continues to go down with the Cleoth. The Cleoth giving their interpretations, as well as you do hear Heather's account as well, the theory of a primordial spirit, which tracks with all of your theories as well. There's talking, muttering amongst the members of the Sept as members of older brothers start talking back and forth before Howls on Mountains speaks up. Quiet! We have gained our information, and the night does not last forever. You must plan on what to do next. If this is a talent of the Wyrm, we need as much information as we can to deal with it. And if the spirits are as dense as the outsiders claim, then we must call a concordant, which will take months to gather the Garu here. Unacceptable. Let us do what we can now. And if a concordant must be called, we will send them. They've brought it the silent strider themselves, so it'll at least be more convenient than normal. However, this concordant would then conflict with Sacred Stone's own concordant. And I doubt our list of allies will be strong. Fighting a hive tends to take the bite out of many. Let us discover what we can discover. Some of you wish to investigate Zoltan, then so be it. Discuss. Some of you wish to learn more of the caves, learn more of the talons. So be it. Discuss. If you have other suggestions, call them out now, and we will listen. It is time that we take the fight to this, whatever it is. We will not bicker like cubs. We will stand strong like the Garu we are, of the ancient traditions that go back since before the great ice sheets melted and flooded the sea. The ancestors are watching. How would you all like to proceed?
The caves kind of interest me, so...
That could be our biggest bet in trying to solve this, honestly. Evidence keeps pointing to that. We have a Galliard whose name is Sings the Old Songs, is in support of this information in the caves. Not docking the people exploring Zoltan, just I think we should go to the caves.
I feel like maybe we could dig more into the history of the caves, but I feel like if there was information on the history, then we would probably already know what's in there.
Most of the cave history you did hear is brief mining expeditions that were driven off by the native population. They didn't get far.
There could very well be more paintings in there too.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I mean, we could split up. I mean, it's not out of character. It's not terrible for us to split up. We've done it before. Some of us can go into the caves. Some of us can investigate Zoltan. I guess it's really up to us individually. We don't really have to go as a group.
I think I prefer us staying together for this one, because if it's as dangerous as the caves initially led us to believe. Probably be safer, at least.
Sure.
But I do also think, like, we didn't look at the caves, like, not in the Umbra, and if those paintings are still there in any fashion, I mean, we could gather information safely then. And, you know, if there's not, there's not, and then we maybe start taking some risks, maybe approach it from a different angle, because it's a bunch of interconnected caves, right? So we could find information by just, you know, going at it.
And if I remember right, since we found those paintings in the Umbra, they should be in the physical too.
A lot of this is like if they're actually connected, right? So let's say Zoltan is doing its exploration in the physical caves in the physical world, and they're in that area. We might just run into them right on the spot where we want to go anyway, because their teams are up there doing surveying or whatever the heck, and we're dealing with a bunch of their minions and security. Or we're in the Umbra looking at the spiritual manifestation of all these horrible things, if they're really connected, and fighting against them. I don't know if there's much difference in doing one or the other. I think they're going to take us to the same spot. I think it's a matter of, do we want to go there in the Umbra, or do we want to go there in the physical world and see the difference?
I just want to say maybe there would have been evidence of any sort of activity as such when we went there in the first place, even in the Umbra. And
the hundreds of veins might be the manifestation of what that looks like in the Umbra. Because again, it might not be giant
actually,
drill.
yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay, yeah, thinking like a Thurge there, yeah.
And keep in mind that, like, outside of the Banes, if everything else is net new, like it's just started happening, it wouldn't affect the Umbra yet. It might take some time.
I think maybe Umbra is our best bet.
We could always peer through into the physical realm, since the veil is weaker here.
I do have my gifts to jam technology.
I'm kind of leaning towards the physical side of things, but we could peek over both ways, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's easier to peek into the Umbra, I believe, than it is into the physical world, yeah.
So, some other things to keep in mind. It may be easier to do so, but it may also be incredibly painful, because if that spirit did specifically come from here, it was like poisoning the gauntlet, right? So doing so might hurt us. Just a thing to keep in mind. If we do run into Zoltan here, and they are not just regular people and are Fomori, Spyro related, anything like that, we maybe won't be able to run away through the Umbra, or the opposite even. Just a thing to keep in mind.
It's easier to peek from the Umbra to the physical. It's harder to peek from the physical into the Umbra, just as an FYI.
If we do go the physical route, I would say we pick up a natural gas detector. You could pick them up from not almost, but a few stores, and they're fairly cheap.
You got natural gas detector money?
I do.
Then that's
Not
fine,
poor.
because none of us do.
It's all those investments I've made.
There are many benefits to being a glasswalker. Most of them are money.
Money and stuff.
William walking while Grows-Matrices.
I think some of this is going to depend, because we're not going to be going alone, one way or another.
And if we really need to, I can ask some of my kinfolk to look further into the Zoltan issue. Get some more people on it instead of just the one or two that I've called.
I think that'd be great. I think there's a chance here for us to look at some substantial lost lore of the Ectena. It would likely be a lost opportunity otherwise if we weren't actually there helping them defeat a threat to their lands and their people. Plus, it's a long walk. Through the Umbra, then?
Through the Umbra.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
We'll have time to prepare. So, William, I think that's one of the things. If we can make a call to some of your kin, and maybe buying some devices wouldn't be a bad thing either.
Maybe we should make our interest in the caves known to those that are going to the caves as well, or have interest.
Yes.
Most certainly sings old songs.
Are they grouping up like they did at the previous moot we
Yep.
went to during the Cracking the Bone? All right, so I guess we find where the folks are massing up that are talking about doing a foray into the Umbra.
Okay.
Go and check these caves.
You do that as you get there, as they're talking. It seems like the consensus right now is they want to start looking around the area and start finding other cave entrances. The theory being, if they can map where the Banes start to grow denser, they can start trying to map where the largest pockets of evil are, which could basically drive them to figuring out where this thing is directly by finding other ones. And this also means that if they find a cave with the least amount of banes, they can find the path of least resistance to the eye of the storm, is the current goings on.
How many people are here besides us?
8. So just one shy of half the Karen. I guess half a Garu shy of the whole Karen.
I can't think of anything to say on top of the plan that the gathered Garu are talking about.
And this is specifically only in the Umbra, correct?
Some are talking about the physical, some are talking about the Umbra. Most are talking about the Umbra because Banes and this thing manifests in the Umbra, though. Some want to at least map it in the physical world, too, to see if the mines overlap with the highest Bane activity. The ancient mines, I guess.
Has anyone discussed any countermeasures for the poisonous effects? The memory delirium, the dizziness, so on and so forth?
Some are talking about maybe trying to get perhaps 1 or 2 Bonars to help them, because Bonars have access to the gift Resist Toxin, which means they're immune to the effects of natural gas. Others are talking about binding hazmat gear, though that will be more difficult, is to buy enough, and because that will require most Garu to undedicate their regular clothes to have enough Gnosis to carry all the items required for hazmat gear if they do have to go into the Umbra.
Why specifically hazmat gear and not just like an oxygen tank with a mask?
Yeah, basically that. But that'd be 3 items. The mask, the tube that connects, and then the oxygen tank itself. And the oxygen within. Because they're all separate items.
Oh, even including the gas in the tank?
Mm-hmm. Well, you could step sideways and then the tank could pop in and then the oxygen's left in the physical world.
Oh. I didn't know that's how that worked.
Like a set of clothes, usually yes, but because this is more technology-based, most technology things are harder to bind.
Okay.
This is the question. Are we looking for cause, or are we just looking to find this thing and kill it? Because if we're looking for cause, then part of me says that exploration outside of the Umbra would be the way to go. To see if there's a relation, and we could probably do it quickly and a heck of a lot less pain than dragging a bunch of items into the Umbra.
It is here that a young woman steps forward as she goes, "We wish to seek the cause," as if this was intentional. What's to stop them from trying to do that? Certainly with a less powerful Bane, if this is indeed a Talon. But what's to prevent them from doing it again somewhere else with some other Bane spirit? We need to have that information known so that we can either tell the nation or prevent them from trying to do that on these lands ever again, because we will know the signs.
That makes me lean, and I'll turn to my pack specifically, but to the others. It makes me lean toward changing our plan to look in the physical world first, and in the Umbra next, given the supplies we might need and the time we might take, and what we'd encounter. Idiot humans doing idiot things, maybe for more, versus pockets of Banes inside the Umbra. What do you all think?
I do think the physical would be easier to navigate, map, and if my theory with the natural gas is correct, then the Bane spirits are going to be linked to the natural gas as well. So if we can find those pockets of natural gas, the densest portions will have the densest amount of Banes.
Howls-In-Memory?
I'm leaning towards the physical side as well. If this spirit is corroding the gauntlet, I would assume that gives us a chance of encountering spirits in the physical, or something else happening.
You enjoy flexibility in a plan. Alright, the Yellow Omens will go and explore in the physical world, some of the caves and entrances around, to see where the origin point of some of this corruption is seeking into Gaia's beautiful face.
I have the same opinion.
Then Fomori's Bane goes, into the physical as well.
Okay.
Take some time to collect things you might think we could use, William. Any information that you might be able to get from your kin before we take that trip. Howls-In-Memory, prepare as you need also.
I'll give my kinfolk a call, see if they were able to get anything new. They did say it would take a couple days, but...
Yeah, they're just like, not at this time. Well, we're working on it. We're trying to see what we can, see if there's any kin in the network who actually work for them. But even if they're callow, because we try and keep track of at least some of us. But it's going to take a while. This is... The kind of info you're asking for is not a matter of public record, typically.
I figured as such.
I guess the only other thing I can tell you is one of the people on their team, one who is named in the interview, was Laura Welch. She was the kind of spokesperson for the team in the news article that we found.
That's still good information. I'll definitely use that.
Should we go as Lupus?
We have to carry some of the stuff that we're purchasing to explore the caves. We still have to go and get air tanks and fill that up, gas masks, and, well, not gas masks, but the masks for the air tank and the natural gas detector.
Oh.
If we have the detector, do we need
I was going to say, let's just stick to the detector for now, William, and anything else after that we can look after the first reconnaissance.
Okay.
You can buy whatever you want to for yourself, of course, but for the rest of us, the detector will be just fine.
Here comes Will in like a whole Iron Man suit, just like, all right, guys, I'm ready.
You just see Dimitri. I just needed one gift.
Well, I have the gift. So.
I know. So if they start passing out, Dimitri's the one who's going to have to carry him out.
We believe in you.
No. Just send them in with the gas detector.
Gas detector tells them that the gas is there. Doesn't stop them from getting gas poisoning.
Well, wouldn't say how much.
The detector does nothing.
Detector?
You're assuming.
How much,
sorry. Judging by previous history, detecting natural gas wouldn't seem to stop you from exploring further and pushing your luck.
It's still super late at night right now, correct?
Yeah,
it's midnight.
It's like midnight, 1 a.m. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to find out from these guys? Fine, and then we can get some sleep in the morning. Hit the store that sells these things, apparently that can be bought, and we can do this in daylight versus nighttime, unless we wanted to wait for cover of darkness for some reason. Other than, I guess it's January, so heat doesn't really matter much. Or December.
Nope, I think we need our rest if we're going to take this trip.
The moot's not done yet, so not quite yet. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. But yes, upon completion of the moot, we will have no other business other than to rest and go buy our stuff.
Mm-hmm. Once the final bone is burned.
So Kyle will address all of the older brother members that are right around us in this group.
Mm-hmm.
Would anyone here be interested in joining us tomorrow? We obviously lack all of the context that we may find if there are more paintings. It may be helpful to have someone with knowledge with us.
As Sings Old Songs goes, that's a fair statement, and I would go with you, but don't you have that phone? Would that not be a way to bring back information so that context could be shared with the Sept proper? And if I go with another pack and we find murals that you didn't, I'd be able to provide context immediately.
Oh, you're right. The phone is new. It's very new. Thanks for existing, William.
Who knew? That's all I had to do. Was just make a character to exist, and I'm useful.
It's just so much easier now. Everything.
We'll
just
money,
go buy a detector. It's like, right.
All right, William, just stand there, look pretty, and take pictures.
He's even got credit, man. Like, this dude's on it. It's great.
I own
That's like a 3-point werewolf merit, man. Having a
You
fucking
own a
line of
house?
credit, man. Yeah, that's what's up.
We've only known elders who own houses. That's because they have enough kinfolk to mooch off of.
I do have an idea to hopefully ease the animosity towards us a little bit. I remember there's a story about a older brother hero from Zeb's rank challenge. When the storytelling portion of the moot comes around, if it does,
It will not in this case.
oh okay.
This is an emergency. We gotta discuss business, Mooch.
okay. All right. Well, maybe after everything, we can give a parting gift.
There you go. And so the moot winds down at about 2 a.m., giving you some time to sleep.
We're gonna need a car in the morning, William. An off-road car.
Make it happen, Captain.
Just made of money.
We get the insurance.
What's your resources at?
If you can't afford, like, a 6-person Jeep, 6 dirt bikes would probably do also.
Okay. Resources is
need to-
only 3.
You just
Yeah,
need to
so-
buy it. It's a rental.
Okay, fair enough. Just
Rent a pickup truck from Home Depot. We'll lay in the back. It's $19.95 a day. It's fine.
Okay. I don't know who told you the pickup trucks from Home Depot are off-road vehicles, but I would like to inform you that you've been misinformed.
They are not. They are not. Or we're just gonna walk for 2 hours. It's fine. Travel time's cool. Let's just bond.
Yeah, so it'd be 2 hours to town and then 2 hours to the caves.
Oh, okay. Well, it's cardio.
And that's with stamina rolls, because remember, that's running speed. Walking speed, you're going to probably double those travel times. Unless you're in Lupus. So it's the next morning. You running or you walking to town?
I will run into town.
I guess we're all going, so I will run into town.
Are we all going?
Yeah.
I'll just fly there.
Just shift sideways in front of somebody. Just like, oh, where'd you come from? I was here. You just ran into me.
No, I'll run too.
Okay. That'll be a straight stamina roll. Diff 8 because you're running.
And we're in Hamid, right? Or Krynos? No, we're in Hamid. That's right.
There you go.
Technically, they only told us not to use our wolf forms, right? We can be Krynos all we want.
We could technically be Glabro. We're just hairy people.
Kyle, you take 1 point of bashing damage, and it will not go away until you properly rest for a couple hours. Same to you, Cora.
Alright, gotta shake them out. Gotta shake the jitters out. It's alright.
As you all get there, you're all pretty sweaty, but Kyle and Cora are drenched. It looks like they jumped into a pool and then crawled out to join you on your run. As you get to the edge of town. So you get to the hardware store. You buy your stuff. The guy thanks you. Looks over at Kyle and Cora. They gonna be okay?
Yeah, we just got back from a run.
Gotcha. Well, just wanted to let you know, generic bottles of water are on sale.
You sold me. I'll pick up a couple.
Okay, you pick up a couple.
We'll pick up a flat, actually, a whole case.
Oh, okay.
So that way we have some water on our hike.
There you go. Good call.
I can put a whole lot of those water bottles in my magpie swag because it holds twice as much as it normally can.
We were gonna have Cora carry it.
Yeah. Make Cora carry it.
Sure.
Yeah,
Carry it. She's like, "What up? Your water's small and weak."
But only if I get good rolls.
Make her do rolls on carrying the water. Do it.
Because then my strength is only for appearance and not for any practical use at all.
Show muscle. Show muscle.
All right. So, are you jogging or are you just regular hiking? Because it is uphill this time. It was all downhill.
For the sake of everyone else, I think we should walk.
It sounds good.
Cora, Kyle, you're not drenched anymore, but you haven't burned off some of that fatigue from your initial run as you guys spend about 3.5 hours hiking through the mountains. before you get to the cave entrance. It's about 3 p.m. Fairly pleasantly warm, given that it's Arizona, though a little cold as well since you're in the mountains. It's still unnaturally hot across the country.
Is there any evidence of human activity around the cave entrance?
Give me a perception investigation.
That's what I was hoping for. Thank you.
Or perception survival, if you're looking for more natural things like broken branches, footprints, things like that. Kyle, Zeb, Dimitri. Looking around, it doesn't look like there's anyone really been here besides, or at least any kind of mechanized sort of human disturbances. You notice a couple things, maybe people who'd walked into the cave or perhaps hikers who walked by the cave. It's really unclear. You haven't used the survival skill to figure that out.
Nothing worth noting, it looks like. Not yet, at least.
Doesn't appear that way. And who knows, there might be other things that connect to this tunnel, right? So, just one entrance out of many. Deeper in here, or to look for somewhere else?
Well, there was mention of trying to find other entrances. Unless we want to start here, maybe we can help find other entrances.
Well, is this a different entrance than we think we used in the Umbra?
This maps in your head as the entrance you entered in through the Umbra.
Okay.
Well, as good a place as any to start. Head on in.
You start heading in. As you start moving through. As you're going through and you get a little deeper, maybe about 50 to 60 yards, you do notice several cracks in the wall, as well as several crushed bats from debris crushing them, as there are several bats overhead, the smell of guano wafting into your nostrils as the bats continue to sleep and their dead brethren simply litter the ground, already kind of mummified from the heat and the dryness of the area.
I will take this time to turn on the detector.
All right, you turn on the detector.
So that way it's known.
No, it goes up. It picks up a little bit, but that's simply because of the you can rationalize that away, I should say, by the methane coming off of the guano and the decomposing animals.
Okay.
As you start to go forward, you notice several holes in the ground you have to watch yourselves with as the light from the entrance is gone, and you are using your phone as a flashlight, William. Within the holes, you notice dead or dying animals at the bottom of vast crevices. Snakes trying to slither up walls. In one, you see a deer with shattered legs, dead, likely have been having passed here several days. About 20 minutes into the cave, your natural gas detector goes off again.
What's it reading?
It's 10.
I'd like to roll Sense Wyrm, please.
I'm gonna go Diff 8, please. Alright, Zeb, you do get a brief kind of smell on the other side of the gauntlet. Just a tiny bit. Likely those spirits that you'd seen before.
Alright, consider every time we smell the gas like this to have a spirit on the other side, right? So the more intense it is, then the larger the spirit, if we're going to do some rule of thumb metaphysics here.
Could we not just peer into the Umbra?
Didn't want to take the time, but we always can, sure.
The detector is showing low enough readings that I think it would be valuable information. If we're doing things from one perspective, we lose out on the other information on the other side.
I'm going to call this good enough right now until we get something a little bit more intense. You can peek all you like. I won't hold you back.
I will give it a try.
5, so the difficulty would be 8 to peek.
Guides the phone wants to take a hunch, and with the detection on the natural gas reader, he wants to look around for maybe if there's cave paintings around.
William, your eyes seem to phase in and out of your head as they are trapped there as unimaginable pain rips through your body.
Oh.
Zeb, Your smell of the worm goes off instantly, as he is a gateway between.
Is there any way to pull him back here? Or is he just to wait it out?
It's a step sideways plus 2 difficulty, so it'd be diff 7. So you have to spend 30 seconds focusing, Zeb, as you're looking at a reflective surface. As you're focusing, as your hands become partially insubstantial, as you move them into William's head, and you pull back slowly. As William, you feel the sensation of fingers touching the back of your eyes, gently caressing the nerves, as your eyes reform in your skull, and you see the backs of Zeb's fingertips as he has pulled your eyes back from the umbra, or the in-between.
When the detector goes off more, bigger bane, right?
Yes, Rhea.
Mark, as you're looking around, at least in the physical world, there are no paintings. And you did notice that there was no painting at the mouth of the cave as it correlated to the umbra. That cave painting was there because of how important it was to the people who lived here and just hadn't faded away yet. But while the physical representation faded away long ago.
Mark will relay this theory to the group. Seems that perhaps the physical representation of the cave paintings have gone away. We'll only find them in the Umbra as the scant memories clinging to the walls in the spiritual realm.
Are we good to keep going?
I would say it's safe to keep going as long as we don't peer where we're not supposed to.
Good.
You continue down as, William, you notice that the detector just seems to go up by about 1 every 20 or 30 feet. Things feel a little odd. Kyle, you see something out of the side of your eye? Something scurrying on the walls.
I will try to track where it went.
You track and you look, and as soon as you look that way, it's gone. Though through the corner of your eye again, you notice other things on the ceiling that have a strong resemblance to the things you saw the previous, or 2 nights ago.
I'm going to turn to look at that one as well.
As you turn, and as you look at them directly, gone.
Those banelings we saw yesterday, or 2 nights ago, I can almost see them, just from the corners of my eye.
The gauntlet must be very thin here, then. What does the natural gas detector say?
It's at about 19. Though when you catch up with the rest of the group, it goes up to 20.
It's nearly approaching dangerous levels.
Who has stamina 2 in Hamid? Zeb, you're starting to feel a slight pain in the back of your forehead.
I'll shift to Hispo.
Alright, shift to Hispo as the headache starts to go away a little bit, though it's still as your size fills out a good chunk of the cave, and it's hard to get around you, so whoever's in front of Zeb is now stuck in front of Zeb, and everyone who's behind Zeb is stuck behind Zeb.
Zeb, did you perhaps mean to shift into Glabro?
No, but I'm not used to being the biggest here.
I'll shift into Glabro, Keegan, to see if it makes a difference.
It does. Your stamina is still a bit higher, and your head doesn't hurt as much, but it's still a little bit a residual kind of accumulation.
It's gonna be bad. Yeah. Alright. No longer blocking the hallway.
Yep.
Guys, the Fallen will point at Zeb and go, he has a good idea, actually. If we were to go deeper, maybe our regenerative powers will be more useful. And I will turn into Glabros as well.
I do find it very endearing. Like, this is not a bad thing. So do not get self-conscious on me. I find it endearing that you have mispronounced Glabro since the very beginning. And it just sounds like a character from, like, Portal and a Werewolf the Apocalypse term that you've just smashed together. And it's fucking adorable.
What can I say? I like my Glagros. But yes, I transform into Glabro.
Anyone else?
Yeah, why not? We'll
Yeah.
just fill out this whole cave.
No? Okay. None for Kyle. Kyle, being the shortest, stays in the middle to be protected. You continue on deeper into the cave. There are holes and pitfalls, as it is pitch black. No sunlight reaches here.
Lambent.
Lambent sight.
All right, spend a gnosis.
My flashlight. Oh shit! Did my meditation work?
Oh,
That I talked about.
Yeah, roll wits enigmas, diff 8, and we'll find out. Each success is a point of gnosis back. Ooh.
Every time the last 4 times I've meditated, I need you to know, it's been a failure.
You botched that too, so you lost a point of gnosis.
Great.
Sorry, bud.
That's alright. I'll still spend a gnosis for Lambent Sight.
Okay.
Makes you wonder what distracted him from meditating.
Probably his dream constantly butting the fuck in. Melting deer is not very calming. So you continue on as Lambent Sight is very good, as there are just drop-offs, places that you could catch your leg and break it if you weren't careful. The levels start going up. It's at about 25. Anyone who has stamina 4 or less now is starting to get a severe headache. Anyone with stamina 5 is got a mild or moderate headache, and anyone with stamina 6 has a very mild headache.
Just for clarification, since I have resist toxin on.
No, you're good.
Fine.
You're fine.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You can do this all day.
Anything, you're the one leading the pack.
Well, what a great bonding activity, spelunking with my friends.
Kyle will be in Glabro now.
Okay.
He needs it.
He needs it. Once the headache's there, it's still mild, though.
Is the presence of the jutting of banelings and the shadows and visions...
You see things out of the corner of your eyes now, constantly shifting.
Is there a chance that Mark can, see one without it disappearing on him?
No, it's still quite... They're getting closer and closer to the center of your vision, but once they get in there, they're gone. So as soon as you turn to look at them, they vanish. But they're constantly on the peripherals, as you do hear the little whisperings, as just the little mutterings of the... whispering and strange chantings. As you start to get a strange smell, it's the distant smell of sulfur. Faint. Rotten eggs.
William, what does the gas detector say? It's a feeling, but I have a feeling we may be pushing our luck. We're getting close to it.
What does it say, Keegan?
28.
We're practically there at the lethal levels for any sort of long-term exposure. At least for normal people.
We could be reaching a focal point. The gauntlet is very thin here. We could be close to the creature for all we know, with the gauntlet being so weak here.
How are you all feeling?
Slight headache in the front, even in this form.
Mild pain. Otherwise, I'm fine.
Pretty terrible. I'll have to shift again soon.
Zeb, you had a smell back there. What were you smelling?
I was just sensing Wyrm to see how intense it was. And the gas itself is that. But I can check again to see if it's more intense. I'm going to assume it is.
It is.
And I'll roll again.
It's diff 6.
I'm going to assume. Okay. Yeah.
You get more smells of the worm. Once again, most of them from the gauntlet, but there's something else here in the immediate area, as it seems to draft and blow around you.
The same as the gas before, that's the feeling, or mean something on top of that?
Something on top of that, like the gas is carrying something.
There's something here more than just the gas when it comes to worm taint. I mean, you smell the sulfur smell, it could just be, it could be that. Clearly something bad.
As you move on, getting through the caves, you notice that the caves branch off in about 6 different directions. The natural gas reader reads 35 as it is beeping loudly.
Is it large enough to shift into Hispo here, Keegan?
Well, the caves are large enough for you to be in Hispo, but they are not large enough for a Hispo and a Glabro to be relatively close. Yeah.
I know we're traveling in a line, so why I ask is that I'll move to the back if anything.
Okay.
But the thing is, if I can't turn around, then that's a thing. Can I still turn around or am I too big to do that? Like I'm
You're
either
too
going
big to do that. Yeah.
I'll be stuck facing a direction.
You'd have to make a dexterity athletics check to make it.
All right. If we're going to keep on pushing and I shift, I don't want to block our way out. Now, we came in light on equipment for a reason with his detector. Are we pushing further? I don't want to split up. I don't want to hold this back, but I think we're answering a lot of questions right now. It's just going to be deadly gas for werewolves and kin that try to come here in the physical world. If the humans are this far down through this spot, they've got a heck of a lot of stuff, and we haven't seen much indication of that through here.
Were we even looking for stuff like that while we were coming down? I know we were just kind of mapping out the cave system.
I know we looked at the start.
Were we actively looking in the caves? I know I've been a little too preoccupied trying to navigate the caves since I'm blind as a bat in here.
I mean, I think it's worth noting that we looked at the beginning and there was nothing, and we have come to essentially our first branch. So there would be almost no point in looking previous to now, I would say. But
for your next thought, I need a wits, an intelligence wits roll, diff 5. If you fail, you will lose your train of thought as you completely forget what you were talking about. Diff 5? So yeah, just have that on hand, because this will be coming up as your memory is starting to get foggy from the gas.
Oh, not today.
You're on it today.
That also include me since I'm talking?
Yeah, so you guys are good. Good.
But on that note, maybe we can use the detector to see, just point it a few feet down these branches and follow one that is perhaps a little less dense for a while.
Do we know that Dimitri has resist?
Yeah, he had mentioned it, yeah.
Okay. We could always just have Dimitri go down 5-10 feet each hole with the detector.
Does this sound good to you, Dimitri?
I mean, it sounds good to me. I'm the only one among us that's not affected by the gas.
And would now be a good time to peek to the other side?
You tell me.
I highly...
In character to Zeb.
Fair enough.
I'll take a peek. Sure.
Alright, it is diff 6. As your eyes instantly go over and you see the banes everywhere, you even see a convulsing deer spirit. As the spirit seems to see your eyes, the spirit looks at you as its flesh turns to like slick oil as the ragged bones are below and the antlers explode into flames as you just hear, "Help me!"
We're in the middle of the Bane nest here, and spirits on the other side are just being absolutely dissolved. Short of finding humans down here in a few more feet, I think we've seen what we're going to see, at least through here.
Zeb, while you're still looking through the gauntlet, you see a huge man walking through as you see him look into the eyes of the deer and shake his head. Can I get a perception alertness to try and hear him? Because you can't hear your friends, too. All your senses are in the other side of the gauntlet. So you're just kind of calling out.
Difficulty?
We're going to go diff 6.
As you spend a willpower here?
Yes, you can.
I will spend a willpower here for an automatic.
Because you're just really concentrating. All right. You hear the man in his deep voice. He's a large Native American man as he just goes,
"I'm sorry, my friend. My gifts cannot help you here."
As he seems to you see him get even larger as he grows by about a foot. He gets very hairy, and he takes on the spirit and destroys it.
Did we see this individual at the moot?
No.
I guess I'll come back to the physical world. There's an individual on the other side. Other than the massive amounts of banes, there was a dying, dissolving deer spirit on that side, and this individual just handled it. I don't recognize this man from the moot, but apparently someone else is here looking around.
What gifts give somebody that ability to walk among Bane spirits?
Being an elder, I couldn't tell you, but there's a man on the other side there, doing this very thing right now, walking through here.
Is there a way to speak to him?
You'd have to step sideways. But it seems like you don't need a reflective surface to step sideways now.
The gauntlet is so weak here because of that.
All the activity, we're so far away from any city structure. The deepest of deep wilderness here, plus spiritual activity. Yes, that's the choice. Either we're gonna end up having to walk back some way. We either go back through the caves or we cross over here. We wanted to see this spot anyway. Dangerous, but we have the risk of asphyxiation here. Howls-In-Memory pushes a little bit farther, or we try to cross, but that's also a dangerous proposition.
How many Banes did you see?
They were all smaller. There were lots of them, but there were none of the large ones.
Lots of small ones. I was kind of concentrating on the man. He surprised me more than the rest of them, but they're there. That's why there's so much gas.
If that's what you want to do, we shouldn't hesitate, lest he leave.
And if he's in the Umbra, he must be aware of our presence on the other side.
Unlikely. It's dark here.
Oh.
You see shadows. The shadows can't be seen if it's dark. That's why it's not a catch-all.
Okay, just...
Rather than step sideways into the middle of a Bane nest, could we pull him into the physical?
I think that'd be an extremely unwelcome surprise for that man, and we will not do that.
All right.
If he's strong enough to be where he is, upsetting him could kill us quickly.
And whatever is calming the veins around him could possibly be our advantage at the moment. So, make haste.
All right, we cross.
Sounds like you are.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
That's right. The mics can't pick up thumbs up.
Correct.
Dip to step sideways also 6.
No, the diff to step sideways is 3.
Kyle, do you want to do the pack roll?
How much gnosis do you have?
I have 7.
Then this is your business, and not
This is... Alrighty. Never mind then.
Damn, you had 7 gnosis? When you burned that you sacrificed from 8. God damn. Ooh. Hat tip to you.
Thank you.
All right. You all pass instantly into the Umbra as the big man turns around. Kyle, Mark, you recognize him. You found him in a cave near Cripple Creek, sleeping.
Oh! Out of character. It's the Corral!
It's good to see you again, my friend. I wasn't expecting to see you here.
It takes a few moments before you hear him speak English. Nor I you. I tried to find you at your sacred stone, but you were not there, or so the spirits told me. I had to send them to find you.
We were out of the physical for a couple of years.
I see. As the whole ground starts to shake violently, even here in the Umbra, as you just hear this kind of growl and sound, as you see, like, images of people on the wall starting to form out of the stone, trying to crawl out as little daggered hands pull them in, as you hear them screaming as they're torn apart and the dust hits the ground. I came out through this way. Do you wish to join me?
Absolutely.
You guys start running down that way. It takes a while. As you pop out in a different section of the mountain, the sun has set, and it is firmly night. Luna has risen. It's a gibbous moon. So, Dimitri, if you're not at full rage, you are now. Anyone else, if you're not at full rage, you gain 4 rage up to your permanent.
Oh no, 3.
What are you doing here? And who are these? As he looks over at the ill omens.
These are an ally pack of ours, the Ill Omens. This is Speaks-in-Sweet-Whispers, Grows-Matrices, and Howls-In-Memory.
I see.
They follow Owl.
I see. You see the just blatant discomfort on his face as he stays in his Gurel equivalent of Glabro, as he's standing a good 7.5 feet tall, wide shoulders and knotted muscle.
But we are here on the behest of an older brother, Sept. We were looking into a bane that had been leaving the caves and killing spirits.
Yes. I've heard things about Older Brother, especially from Sacred Stone. From Older Brother. I wish to hear your side of it sometime. Your totem gifts you that much. But yes, the spirit. That is why I am here.
Do you know what it is?
Yes. Zumahai, he who rends. The Gorel looks all of you over. Earth Pillar then goes, "It seems almost destiny that we have reunited."
And I'm grateful for it. I hope we can pool our resources to the extent that you are willing to help solve this problem.
I'll have to speak to the others. They might have thoughts on you. When you hear, just over your shoulders, a familiar woman's voice going, "I have some trepidation, but I've worked with at least some of them before."
We turn around to see who's speaking.
You see Judith standing there, looking down at you.
It's good to see you again.
"I'm glad," she says. Her voice is pretty flat.
Journeying laughter, it's been quite some time.
"Yes,
And after so long, what makes our paths cross?
fate seems to be a sick mistress. Perhaps it is just Gaia playing a prank on me."
Is something wrong?
"I don't know, you tell me. When one witnesses a miracle, and from what I heard, finally witness the spirits of time and destiny themselves, and one decides to stay in their own petty grievances rather than to explore the great beyond, and to perhaps aid in preventing the calcification of wonder itself. You tell me, Kyle Guards the Low."
I'm sorry that I wasn't able to continue on the path that you started me on. I didn't understand what was happening, and we went on different journeys, and we were stuck in Erebus for quite a while, and it does all sound like excuses, but that's the explanation.
Well, thank you for the explanation. I wish I had known that your sense of wonder was so dull, otherwise I wouldn't have spent the time. Your packs seem to have so much promise. Perhaps you can help us now, though. This is greater than my grievances, though I bristle, I have to say, when I'm not even gifted the passion of Luna, and I still feel like I could be on the verge of a frenzy.
Completely understandable.
Well, 2 of the 5 know them. Do you think Soars Through Ice Storms would like them? I've heard of these 3. One of them apparently killed a bunch of ravens and reneged on their promise to aid the Korax.
That one is dead. I'm Speaks-in-Sweet-Whispers. This is the Ill Omens. The individual that harmed and betrayed the Korax is gone, but we are holding that bond to fulfill it anyway. My packmates are Howls-In-Memory here and Grows-Matrices. I'm not exactly sure what history you have with the others here, but I know there's a great dark entity manifesting itself, corrupting and destroying, and it appears we're all in the same game to stop it.
So it is. My name is Judith Journeying Laughter. I believe you all know Earth Pillar. I've come with others to try and help, since this is beyond anything you all faced, and, well, since my ancestors helped give the humans Zumahi's prison to hide it underground, it seems only right that I help keep him imprisoned.
So those cave paintings we saw were of your kind?
We pretended to be Garu. Easier that way. The eye of Zumahai was pranked away from some Garu who didn't seem to think their duty of protection was good enough. Pranked and then hidden. If they couldn't do it, we would make sure we were able to.
There are some of older brother that are already wanting to come to the caves to search for their spirits.
I'm sure they are, and they'll keep looking, though the spiritual density is pretty bad. Even in the physical world, scrags are starting to manifest. Zumahi's prison is cracked, and it's possessing spirits and going out.
Is this because of time or because of things the humans are doing as they destroy Gaia bit by bit?
Seems that it was chipped before, but I have no doubt that humanity has harmed the prison even more. Zumahi is the most violent of the Talons. He who rends, the first in the hand, strikes first and strikes deepest.
Is the goal to repair the prison, or do others intend to destroy it once and for all?
If it was easy enough to destroy Zumahi, I find it unlikely the Garu would not have done so in your primordial past.
Many are inclined to simplify a problem to kill it or not, which just drove me to ask.
There are ways. We're looking into an ancient rite, but we don't need Garu, even those of older brother who have had better relations with us, Bear, Raven, and some of the cats, barging in and fucking up the process. I don't know how close Zumahi is to being freed. That's what we're trying to find, and we've been looking through the caves for weeks. They branch out in 100 different directions. It turns into a catacomb, and I'm not sure if they've become more labyrinthian simply because of the spiritual presence of Zumahi itself.
So we have to keep searching.
Yes, we do. You've kept the secret of the Farah, though. As much as an irritation as I have, I feel that you could keep it better now. Would you meet the 5?
You speak of the 5 others that you've brought?
5 total. The 3 others.
This is all very new to me, but yes.
So long as they're willing to meet with us.
They should be. This way. She shifts into her coyote form, and you see Earth Pillar turn into a great black bear.
I guess we follow Lupus.
Okay.
It's following kind.
As you follow in kind, you get to you travel for about an hour before you get to a clearing, and you see a raven, a lynx, and a mountain lion. Judith takes her Hamid form and goes, "We have some new blood, and we'll find out how this will shake down next time." Thank you to everyone who listened. We'll catch you all in that next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.